Gideon had previously been kicked out of Hero's party by one of its members named Ares. Gideon had the guide's blessing, so Ares saw him as a dead weight and kicked him out of jealousy. So Gideon changed his name to Red and decided to stay in the kingdom's border town of Zoltan, where he opened his own apothecary. But in Zoltan, Red ran into an old friend named Rit, with whom he once fought against the Demon King's army. Rit is the princess of the Duchy of Loggervia, but her spirit scout blessing makes her yearn for adventure, so she flees and becomes an adventurer. But she had a crush on Red, so she quit being an adventurer and began working in his apothecary and living with him. Blessing is a calling that every person has, like to being a fighter or a mage, and at some point, people will crave to do what their blessing is. However, in Zoltan, a drug was being sold that was causing quite a stir. And because the hero's party was having difficulties without Red, Ruti, Red's kid sister allowed one of their members, Danan, to go look for Red. As the story progressed, Red and Rit grew closer and became a couple, living their lives normally with each other. But then some people began attacking the people of the town. So Rit rushed there and saw that the culprits were from Albert's party, a B-rank adventurer, but he accepted responsibility and killed them himself. But those attackers had one thing in common: they had taken a new drug that had recently hit the market. However, Red and Rit did not want to get involved in it and instead wanted to spend their time together in harmony. But then, late at night, the doctor arrived with Elle unconscious. His entire family was suddenly attacked by Ademi, a troublemaker kid who used to bully Elle and Tan Tan. Furthermore, Ademi was the son of the head of the guard in Zoltan, and right after that incident, Ademi mysteriously vanished. Townspeople blamed the head of guard for hiding his son and covering up his crime, and the sparks of riot were rising against it, just after Tantan was taken away by the guards for questioning because Red is their family friend, so the Gons came to him for assistance. So Red and Rit approached the guild's leader for assistance in this matter, and he gladly assisted them on the condition that Rit assist them in their investigation. With that, they got to the lead of the Guars Moen, but he had no idea what's happening. So while Rit was catching all the suspected perpetrators, one of them managed to get away, but Danan came there out of the blue. So seeing this situation, Donan told Rit to keep it secret from Red to not to disturb his peaceful life. On the other hand, Ruti and his group discovered an airship in the ruins. Apart from that, while Elle was in Red's shop, an alchemist named Godwin arrived and kidnapped him. He works for Big Hawk and aspires to be the new Zoltan leader. He was also the one who created the drug and sold it on the market. That drug induces another blessing in the user, an artificial blessing known as the Devil's Blessing, and the desire to respond to that blessing grows stronger. And he gave this drug to Ademi, and in his desperate desire to fulfill his calling, he unintentionally attacked Elle and his family. And Big Hawk intended to use Elle and his family as a scapegoat in order to depose the head of the guard and take his place by leading the people of the town astray. But Red appeared in disguise and abducted Red and Ademi. So, as soon as Big Hawk followed him with Albert Blessing decided to face them alone. Albert Blessing was a champion who craved attention and wanted to overcome obstacles. However, he was unaware that he had made a deal with a demon. Big Hawk had been possessed by a demon all along, but Red took care of it and apprehended them with the guild and guards' help. While they revealed Big Hawk's plan and cowed the citizens, things improved slightly after this matter was resolved, but at night, that goat demon successfully escaped from the prison with Albert and ended up meeting the hero Ruti and her party. Ruti has the hero's blessing, and as a result of that blessing, she has lost all sense of feelings, and because of it she no longer needs to sleep or eat or even feel any pain or affection. But when that goat demon told her about his demon's blessing drug that weakens one's blessing, she tried it out without hesitation. Goat demon told her about Godwin, who created this drug and was imprisoned in Zoltan. Ruti killed the goat and flew away with Tisa on the airship so she could feel her feelings again. Tisa and Ruti decided to conceal the fact that they were the hero. Tisa and Ruti released Godwin from prison so he could create the Devil's Blessing drug for Ruti. However, proper supplies and ingredients are required to create it. So Ruti and Tisa arrived at the apothecary and ran into Red. Tisa saw Ruti happy and smiling for the first time. When they discovered that Red had left the party, they were naturally curious about what Ares had told them. However, Ares lied and told everyone that Red felt like a coward. So Ruti wanted Red back in his party and even wanted to kick Ares out, but Red declined her offer because he preferred to live his life quietly. So Ruti decided to stay in Zoltan and forget about being the hero. And without Ruti, Theodora and Ares went to Alberta to look for him, and their search ended up in the Zolatan port, while Tisa told Red about their reason for coming to her, and they had also freed Godwin to make the Devil's Blessing drug. Red wasn't happy that Ruti had freed the criminal, and even more so, Red volunteers to go to the port and get the supplies they need for the dripe. But Ares and Theodora were also on the port, but Ares left to book them a room. And then, after a long time, Red met Danan again. Theodora and Alberta were secretly following them, but his one arm was missing. The reason was the Asura demon they had defeated in the Duchy of Lugarvia. Ares, on the other hand, met with Danan and told him about Red's presence. Ares was so envious that he wanted to get rid of Red so that he could have Ruti by his side to defeat the Demon King and be a hero. Danan informed Ares of a magical item hidden in a nearby ruin, and they were on their way on a dragon. And when Red saw the dragon, he had a feeling something was wrong. Because summoning a dragon requires a lot of magic, no one in Zoltan can summon it, so Danan left to follow them, and Red met up with Rid and told her everything. They immediately left for the ruins, where Ruti was staying. Red was concerned about the Devil's Blessing drug that Ruti was taking after witnessing its effect on its consumer. But, unlike the others, Ruti developed a new blessing, but it was a nameless blessing, so there was nothing to worry about. But, sadly, Ares discovered their location and wanted Ruti to become a hero again by removing Red. But, for the sake of their old friendship, Ruti did not kill In and wanted to cut her ties with him. However, the Asura demon struck a deal with him, revealing that the ruin houses the relics of the first hero. And once Ruti touches it, her Hayas blessing will rise to the point where she will have no feelings and will only do what her blessing urges. That is, to become a hero and defeat the Demon King. But, to his surprise, the relic was 4 swords, but Dana arrived as well. He first engaged in a fight with Asura demon, and after seeing his skill, he realized he was no match for him. But Ares betrayed him, and as a result of his interference, the Asura demon was able to deal a fatal blow. And now that Danan is out of the picture, they've shifted their focus to their true goal, convincing Ruti to join them as a hero. And even more so when Ruti, Red, and Rit were still fighting Ares and the Asura demon when Theodora arrived but was on Ares' side and trapped Rit with chains to make Ruti a hero again. Ares broke the elevator while Red was on her side to free her. Ruti was furious, but her sword was broken by the sword of the first hero. Despite this, she continued to fight, eventually lifting the sword that wasn't meant to be lifted and killing the Asura demon. But now that she's wielding that sword had amplified her hero's blessing, she won't be able to feel anything. Danan, on the other hand, uses a martial arts technique to send Red and Rit back up, and Ruti got her hands on that sword and tried to kill Red when he was caught off guard, but thanks to Tisa, the tragedy was averted. So, using his crappy sword against her, Red managed to free Ruti from that darn thing and she came back to her sense. And with that, Roit retired as a hero and began her own life in Zoltan away from the life of a hero.